What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Motorfest, and in this video I do want to go over the easiest way I found to actually level the monster trucks up. I would probably say this class is most likely going to be on least the annoying side compared to some of the others. Now I do want to mention, guys, I will be going over different methods for each class here, and or many of them to actually show the best way to level each one up. But for this, guys, let's focus on the monster truck class, because I do know back on the Crew 2 this one honestly wasn't that fun. And I do know there was basically like one event you could do to actually get them leveled up quickly, but we also did have these stunt events back then as well, so that probably didn't help much. Now I do want to mention, guys, doing this exact same method, I have a loot digger set here. I also managed to get a full score breaker set, and not only that, guys, I got not only one, but two full nitrochemist sets. Now, I do have to admit, though, guys, a lot of people are most likely going to get slightly frustrated because I did notice going after the 4 sets I have here took me around an insane 5 to 7 hours to actually get them, so you are definitely going to be here a while even doing this method. But I did manage to get a loot digger set first, which definitely does help, but I do feel like at the same time these sets are kind of odd how they work. Like, for example, you obviously have a big boost in Lucky and or Goldfinger, but even then it still is going to take a long time to get these said parts you are looking for. So even if you guys do actually have a loot digger, do be prepared for this to take a while. I would say still hours on end to get these sets done. Like, for example, guys, I did mention this in a previous video, the scorebreaker set I have here is obviously going to be pure and or skilled. Funnily enough, though, the brake part actually took me 2 hours to get the brake scorebreaker part. I managed to have all of the other ones first way before this one, so it really is going to come down to some RNG getting these parts done. Now, do keep in mind, though, guys, having the legend points on Lucky and or Goldfinger also does help a bit. I normally keep them on the entire time because at the moment I'm obviously grinding out parts, but moving over to the events I found to be the best way to do this. So I would say many people are most likely going to farm like the escapes or like some of the skills, but don't get me wrong, though, guys, you can obviously do the escapes and or like many of the skills if you would like to, but I would probably get kind of bored if I kept grinding out like the same events every time. So one of the events I do want to mention, though, I guess this can be like a side one. The Hummer E-Express event is probably going to be one of the easiest races to do in the entire game for basically any class. Like, all you actually have to do is to basically start the event, turn around and follow the waypoint all the way there and or crash, and you actually respawn closer to the legit objective doing it that way. So if you guys did want an easier race to do, do keep in mind it's like 2 minutes. That will indeed mean that you're going to get less parts doing it this way, but any of the events in the game that are indeed going to be shorter with their times to complete them are going to give you less parts compared to like a longer race. So do keep that in mind when you guys are farming. But similar to many of the other classes, though, you can also do most of the races in the game with a monster truck, but I would say many of them are most likely going to be a chore with how the AI are. Now, I will be going over this in a separate video, guys, because I really do feel like it's going to be one of the better ways to actually level up many of the oddball classes, like the Demolition, Rally, and or Motocross, so I would definitely recommend trying this out, but again, I will cover that in a separate video here in the near future. Now, for the monster trucks, guys, the best thing here is to obviously avoid the events with AI. A good example of this is obviously the Hummer E-Express here. The first one is going to be the Mustang Sally, which, by the way, guys, the only monster truck I actually use to level is going to be the Silverado 1500, which, by the way, I will have a separate video on this as well. That monster truck is honestly going to be incredible, but the other event I also grinded is going to be Drive This Way. And if you guys are wondering, by the way, the best thing about the navigation events, you don't actually have to worry about racing the clock and or being like the fastest thing out there. All you actually have to do is to basically complete the event, and you also don't have to be fast and or be insane on this. Like, for example, guys, all you actually have to do is to get to the end of the checkpoint. It doesn't matter how slow and or fast you are, so as long as you actually get to the end of the navigation races, you will always complete them. And the other event you can also grind out. Now, I'm not going to lie, though, I did not do stock around the clock that much. The main reason for that is I was having a lot more fun doing like the actual races, but stock around the clock, guys, is going to be around 2 minutes and or less, similar to the Hummer Express event as well. So if you are looking to do some quick races, I would say the Hummer Express and or stock around the clock is probably going to be the best options. Now, the other event I did grind out a lot, guys, is going to be here in the Kanayohei Bay and or Kanayohei area. It's actually going to be located here on this island, basically in the back corner over here, which is also back in time. Funny how that actually made sense, but do keep in mind, guys, the main reason why I like these events so much is they are obviously with no AI. This is by far the best way I found to level up the monster class. Like, of course you could do like the skills and or some of these shorter races basically over and over, but I would say, guys, you can easily burn yourself out by basically grinding like the exact same race 30 to 40 times trying to get those said parts. So I do know a lot of players most likely don't want to farm like the exact same race for 10 or 11 hours just to get some parts, so at least you can go around to different events like Drive This Way. Now I could be tripping out, guys, from doing so many different events with so many different vehicle classes, but I really was getting more and or better gold parts doing all the navigation races in the Vintage Garage playlist. But besides all that though, guys, if you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insight.